Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Pratik and in this video I'll be talking about the basics of MIDI and how to use it in Reaper. So let's get started. But before we do, I would request you all to please subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video like this. Alright, so MIDI is an acronym for Musical Instrument Digital Interface. It is basically a standard protocol for connecting various musical digital instruments, computers and other devices. In simple words, it is sort of a language for communication between various digital instruments and devices. Usually when we record an instrument or a vocal, we capture the audio signal which is converted to digital format so that our computers can understand. However, in MIDI we capture only MIDI signals, which are nothing but digital signals that the computer can understand directly, as it has certain standard communication protocols. It might sound a bit confusing, but let me simplify that for you. When recording audio from an instrument or vocal, the computer captures an analog signal and stores it without any other information. But in MIDI, the computer stores information on the notes played, but no sound is captured. There are three main parameters in a MIDI signal that we need to know about right now. Which note is played, how long the note is played for, and how loud the note is played. It is also known as velocity. Okay, now let's go to Reaper and see this in action. Okay, so I've opened up a new session. Now in Reaper, there are no separate tracks for MIDI like in some other DAWs. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go ahead and check out my video on tracks where I tell about these in more detail. Link is in the iCard and in the description below. So let's add a new track and name it MIDI. Now we need to insert a new MIDI item on this track, but before that, let's select how long we want this item to be. Go to the timeline here until you see this icon. Now click and drag to make a selection. Let's say 2 bars. Now go to insert, new MIDI item, and it inserts a blank MIDI item for 2 bars. We can change the length later, but for now let's add some notes. To add, remove or edit any of the MIDI notes on this item, we need to go to the MIDI editor. Double click on this item and it opens up the MIDI editor. This might look a bit intimidating at first, but it's pretty simple if you know how it works. In the left here, we can see the notes that are played. It looks like a keyboard and shows the note name right here. The number beside the note tells us the octave in which the note belongs. So this C4 basically is the middle C on a piano. If we go up, the octave increases. And if we go down, it decreases. In the bottom section here, we can adjust the velocity of the note. We'll get into this later. Next, we have the timeline on the top, similar to the TCP, that shows us which bar we are in. So we can see the 2 bar selection, which we made previously. And since we are in 4x4, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the first bar, and 1, 2, 3, 4 in the second bar. This number on the left of the point tells us which bar, and the one on the right tells us the beat. So this helps us to see how long the note is. If you want to change the grid, go right here and let's change it to 1/8. So for every 8th note, we have a line on the grid. But now let's keep it at whole note and add a C4. Click and drag here on this grid. So here we have a C4 note that is 2 bars long and has a velocity of 96. So let's hit play. And we have no sound. Can you guess why? Pause the video and comment your answer below. Well, it's because MIDI doesn't store any sound, but only the information about the note. So here we have a C4 note, which is 2 bars long and has a velocity of 96. Okay, so I just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about my online mixing production service called Emerging Productions. If you want your tracks to sound professional, be it an original, cover, voiceover, audio, video editing, we provide really affordable services. This is our page from where you can book our services, check out our rates, our works and demos, or leave your feedback. Links to this page and our social media are in the description. Now back to the video. To hear the sound, let's add a virtual instrument. Close the editor. Go to FX, Add, and go to Instruments. And let's search for a synth. Open up this resynth, which is the default synth that comes with Reaper. Adjust some of the parameters. Now hit play. And we hear the sound. Now let's go back to the editor and adjust the velocity. So if we move our mouse on top of this bar, we can see this icon. Now click and drag up to increase the velocity. Or drag down to decrease it. Okay, now I want to talk about using a MIDI keyboard or instrument and recording MIDI. Most MIDI devices are plug and play, which means you can just connect it with a USB cable and it's good to go. But some require additional software to be installed to function as expected. Please refer to the instructions provided by the manufacturer. I am using a Native Instruments Complete Control M32 MIDI keyboard. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested to buy it. Now after you have installed all required software, go ahead and connect your MIDI keyboard or instrument to your computer. I have already connected mine. Next go to Preferences, MIDI Devices, and here I see the name of my MIDI keyboard, Complete Control M32 MIDI, and it shows as disabled. Now right click here and check this Enable Input. So we can see it's enabled now. Now click on Apply and then OK. Let's delete this item. Now go here to the arrow beside where it says In1. Select Input MIDI, Complete Control M32 MIDI, all channels. Now if we arm this track and play something on the keyboard, we can hear it play through the synth plugin, and we can see that it's reading MIDI values by this yellow bar. So let's record now. Turn on the metronome and hit record. Hit play. And we have it recorded. Okay, so one last thing I would like to show you, that is how to quantize the notes. That will help it sound more in time. Let's double click on this item to open the MIDI editor. Set the grid to 1/16 right here. Now right click and drag over the notes that you want to quantize to select them. Hit Q on the keyboard and make sure this is selected as Use Grid, Selected Notes and Position. Click OK. So it snaps the notes to the grid. Now let's hit play again. That's much better. So these are some of the basics of MIDI and how to use it in Reaper. Hope this helped in some way and you learned something. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next video.